We
There
are.
it
I
is.
promise you, Chicken Man. We're live.
Whoa, don't spoil it. We're gonna ease into it. Jeez.
Yeah, easy there, man. Let me just handle this, Big Papa. Everybody, welcome. Everybody, come in. We're going live. Biggest event of the year. Come on in. It's the 2023 at this point annual mess of an event that we do every single year called the Noles247 Player Draft. Everybody chugs a little bit of the brown stuff, and we pick some players for the team, and it gets really off the rails, literally 30 minutes in. But we're glad to have you back. I'm here with Kevin, AB. I'm here with the GM of the Landing Stickers team, Brendan Sonnone. I'm here with the GM of the Box Checkers team, Chris Nee. As always, as all Florida State's activities are brought to you by Big Chicken, that generous donor, that shadowy figure in Delaware that we just found out today on Twitter. If you don't know what it's like, get Twitter. Adam, have you ever heard of anything like this before?
Isn't it X now? I don't know what the hell's going on. Somebody mentioned, Dane texted me something, and I'm like, I don't have Twitter. I don't have X. I don't know what this shit is.
Interesting.
bags,
Sounds like deflection to
them,
me. Sounds
yeah,
like
that wasn't the
deflection
point,
to
maybe.
me. Yeah,
That
exactly.
was
Clearly
not
answered.
a no.
That was not a no. If you don't know what we're talking about, whatever, go to Twitter.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what they all say. All right. Pipe down, Chicken Man. Let's get to the biz. As we always do, we're going to have each guy pick. We want to look at the results of the year before, and each one of our guys is going to pick a team of players from the Florida State roster, and they're going to duke it out throughout the year until we kind of sort of pick a winner a year later if you guys hold us to it.
That's a hot take right there.
Fourth.
Wait, does that make
everybody
does that make
downvote Ricardo? No, I have a wonderful mustache for those that can see live. It's great. It's full. It's thick. It's well manicured. It's very nice. Anyway, Kev, before we get back to it, because I'm going to be the host of sorts, try to keep this thing, try to keep the nose up on this bad boy. Kevin and Adam are going to be the talking head, analyzing the picks. Chris, Brendan are going to be picking. We introduced some new wrinkles into this year's, and I will explain that after Kevin. Normally we do this, and then we forget about the results a year later, and nobody really wins. Not so this year. Let's talk about how we're going to figure out who won last year's draft. Kevin, go ahead. What have you done for us today?
So I decided to evaluate this on two metrics. So last year we kind of first talked about just comparing PFF grades. So that was the original metric, but I decided to take it a step further. So there's going to be two metrics that we're evaluating these teams on. The first is we're going to add up the PFF scores of both teams from last season. Whoever has the highest grade wins that. Then what I did is I had the computer play itself, made the depth chart of each team from last season on NCAA 14, made a little highlight reel. I think, Trey, do you have some copy of that?
I'm going to go. I didn't write anything. I just want to go by how the film grabs me. But yes, I can do a wonderful highlight reel of this. And the third, if there is a tie, person with the best facial hair decides the winner of last year's draft. I just made that rule up. All right, play the film.
All right. So first, I think I want to build some suspense. So we got the PFF grades. So this is what we're working with here.
Let's remind everybody, for those that are listening on audio only, Chris's team was composed of Terrible Tate Rodemaker, Trey Benson, Ontario Wilson, Deuce Spann, Cam McDonald, Robert Scott, Dylan Gibbons, Justin Turntine, Big Meech, Bless Harris, Trayshawn Ward, Jared Verse, Fabian Levin, Malcolm Ray, Pasha. Okay, you guys can. I'm not going to go through all of it. Brendan had Jordan Travis, Toafili, Wilson, McLean, Schrader, Washington Smith, Estes, everybody who has ever snapped a football in their entire life. Micah Pittman, Jarrett Jackson, and Jamie Robinson. Those are kind of the highlights. Brendan got a little weird at the end of it. Who won PFF, though?
So the box checkers won. The big difference makers were having Trayshawn Ward at the flex position compared to Micah Pittman, graded much higher on PFF. It also didn't help that Amari Gaynor played like 8 snaps, and PFF loved them at like 82.5, like that. One of the highest.
It's a math problem, guys. It's a math problem.
He doesn't have anyone who can snap the ball. What the hell are we talking about?
Oh,
and then Cooper and McClellan in the secondary really made Brendan struggle. So
we got one.
PFF,
we got one for Big Papa.
I think Duke was like a top 5 pick for me too. That didn't work out too well.
There's a lot of things that didn't work out for you all. But
straight out in Colorado.
Looking okay. So we've got one for Chris. Kev, do you have the highlight reel of the video game of the video game battle?
Yeah, I'm pulling that up now. So we got a 1-1. Some surprises there with the PFF score. Don't agree with them necessarily 1-1. Then we got to play the game all the way through.
There's so much effort that goes into this, like this little event that you guys have no idea about. Let's go. All right. We've got the landing stickers in white. Nice touchdown, Jordan. Like a Pittman. Chris Nee's team throws a bomb. Scott and Jamie Robinson taking it back. Brendan freaking out with his little like flailing chicken
Usually
arms.
the shorter intermediate ones that get them, but
14-0 lead. Oh, the Brendan centers, they held up enough well to get that. Oh, and somebody needs to practice tackling drills on the knee coaching staff. It is disgusting. Everybody
look at Maurice.
Lawrence Tofili,
like 40 yards down the field.
running like he has to take a virtual dump, but still just enough.
Onside kick.
Brendan up 21-0. Nice boot. Nice frames here on the resolution. Okay, we've got a nice big punt return. Got to be a good play if there is. Oh, it's a fumble. Recovered. 28-0. Christie has to be fired if this score holds. Another pick. Tate Rodemaker sent to the gulag. This is terrible. Jordan Travis, 31-0. This is at this point, it stopped the damn match. It's a bomb. It's a bomb down the sideline. Chris has a very slow team. Secondary is questionable. 34-7. Brendan's got the lead. Tate over the middle. Darian Williamson, the music
excellent
stopped.
tight window throw.
20-point lead. Oh, now the mood is shifted to this music. I don't know what's going on here. And that Malik
Boy, we
McClain.
suck at
Malik
tackling.
McClain, yeah.
Seen Malik McClain. Chris, this is terrible, dude. 37-14. Tate back in the snap on the sideline. Kentron Portier. All big. Oh, virtual Adam Fuller is disgusted by this performance. The secondary is bad. It's an onside kick. Oh, Chris got it within 7. The final score, 37-30. An absurd game. I feel like the editing may have been biased. They cut out about 3 of Chris's touchdowns, but still an exciting contest. Looks like Brendan seized control early, held on like a bucking Bronco, but got the W. So they're tied 1-1. I think I'm going to give it to Chris, man. Sorry, Brendan. The 5-center offense didn't make any sense. It still doesn't when I look back at the team. And Tate's good enough to carry through. The video game was some very impressive evidence. So I'm going to say, yeah, exactly. Everybody liked the video, subscribe, everything like that. Look at all the hard work that goes into this. Chris wins last year by the narrowest of margins. I will say it's close. Now let's get on to this year. Chris, because I declared you as the best facial hair winner that I have that right to confer on, you get the first pick in this year's draft. Let's go. Oh, before we get to the draft, Adam has wanted to further complicate this more by adding sabotages. So what can happen? Adam and Kevin can hop in, each guy twice, and they can either nullify the pick, think of like the Chris Paul Lakers trade, can totally nullify it so they have to pick somebody else. You guys can actually pick for the team.
Yep.
Or, I don't know, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that was a lot of confusing stuff. I'll guide you through it. And this wonderful, beautiful mess of a program is brought to you by multiple people that we love. It's brought to you by Chattanooga Whiskey. There we go. Hold it up, big man. Brendan's double fisting it because he doesn't have kids on a Sunday night. He doesn't have people to tuck in bed. Chris is drinking because he does have kids. Whatever your reason is that you drink Chattanooga Whiskey. It's lovely. It's strong and it tastes smooth. Variety of different craft whiskeys. My God, I wish we had some up here in Iowa. From what I'm told, it's the best. A cut above Chattanooga Whiskey. Also, if you want to get drunk and sell your house, the Turner Group. Come on. Fun market right now. Buying, selling. Colin and Amy Turner, I believe. What did you call her? Like Brenda or something, Chris?
There's a young lady who works for the company that has a different name. It's been proven true, but I digress.
I think that's just a happy coincidence. Anyway, Colin and Amy are the best husband-wife real estate team in the history of Florida's real estate market. You're buying, you're selling, you're renting, you're Airbnb, whatever. You've got some elaborate scheme and you need a realtor to hold your hand through the process. They're the best in the biz. They cover all of Florida. Reach out to them. They rule. And then we're also video game time. Isn't that right?
That's right. And we did NCAA football. Let's talk about our partnership with a game that really just takes what NCAA football did with the dynasty mode and just goes so in depth with it. It's absurd how awesome and fun and how much you can nerd out with it.
Hey, what's the name of the game?
Football Coach College Dynasty.
Football Coach College Dynasty. Got it from here. Football Coach College Dynasty. It is the hottest thing on Steam right now. Zach, Brendan, everybody on the Noles247 message board. Do you enjoy the management of making a college football team? Do you enjoy the recruiting, the game planning, everything? And if you're watching this type of stuff, you're in deep, guys. This is going to be that nice bridge to get you through the season. Football Coach College Dynasty has like a 95% rating on Steam, which, you know, people online, they're all miserable and they hate everything. The fact that you get 95% approval rate on this, ice cream doesn't have a 95% approval rating, but College Football Coach College Dynasty does. Download it and give Zach and Brendan crap, man. It's an awesome game and they're great people, and we appreciate all of our sponsors. Let's get to the draft. Chris, you're on the clock. Dun-dun-dun.
Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis. Easy pick at number 1.
Wait,
Kev, are you going to allow it?
I'm not going to allow that.
Oh,
that's an easy
immediate
block.
sabotage. Okay.
That's
Okay.
an easy sabotage.
All right. Well, you can do. You're going to block it. You're going to pick for him. You're going to let Brendan pick for him.
I'll let my boy, since me and Brendan are kind of working together on this game, I'll let Brendan
Oh,
choose.
collusion. I didn't realize that was a thing. All right, Brendan, who are you picking for Chris's team?
Wouldn't it be funny if I didn't go Jordan Travis? I got to go J Trav. Heisman campaign.
No, you're picking for Chris's team.
Oh,
You can do that. I'm good with it.
no, redact. Wait, I could pick anyone for Chris's team at first overall.
I mean, come
Yes.
on. Let's be
It's
reasonable.
almost like we talked about this beforehand.
Remember,
I'm
you're
so
going to
confused.
get picked by Chris.
I didn't pay attention. I'm not the one screwing it up.
That's my.
It has to be at least a second string level player. How's that?
Can't be a walk on.
It has to be someone you would
Depth charts
expect
don't
to be
exist,
taken.
Kev.
We can't talk about depth charts, but I pick up what you're putting down. I got you.
I think that's broad enough category to not be a depth chart.
Who do you pick for Chris, Brendan?
Chris, you'll take Tate Rodemaker, and you'll like it.
Oh, Tate. Hey, dude, you're riding with him again. I mean, he got you the dub last year.
I think Chris was probably going to take Brock Glenn at some point in this draft. I was wild and crazy.
Now we can't because his quarterback slot is filled up.
All right, Brendan, you're up next, buddy. And Kev, one of your blocks is done.
Chris is pissed already.
He's writing down his list like that guy from Billy Madison.
This is interesting from a strategy standpoint because Chris can't take a quarterback. So Jordan Travis should, in theory, be available the entire time unless someone else forces me to take a different quarterback for him. But I think Tate Rodemaker is the backup, so he can't go deeper than second string, presumably. So I'm okay there. I will go with
depth charts.
I'll go with Jared Verse. Premium pass rusher, premium position, badass all around, all American candidate. Yeah, give me someone to go after Tate Rodemaker.
Okay, Jared Verse. As long as the pick stands, anybody want to hop in?
All out.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Chris is writing your name down now, Adam. Okay, Brendan, you get to go again.
Guys, is snapping important to you?
You're going to start this bull crap 13 minutes in.
I don't know if I have to. I'm taking the preeminent starter on Florida State's roster. It's Maurice Smith. The only player
I don't think you are. I don't think you are, Brendan.
What?
I don't think you're getting away with it this year.
No, you're like.
I don't think you're going to get away with it, and I think I'm going to pick for you.
So he's done a sabotage. What's he doing? What
it's called? Yes, he's sabotaging.
I'm
and he's
sabotaging
picking for your team.
I'm sabotaging. I'm absolutely sabotaging.
Go ahead, Adam. Who's next on Brendan's team? He is just
I think
crestfallen.
Brendan's second round pick. You know, he's been really high on the secondary. He's been all about it this offseason. I think we're going to go ahead and give Brendan Greedy Vance to start his secondary.
Oh, he loves Greedy Vance.
I think I'm going to give Brendan Greedy Vance to start his
I
secondary.
do love Greedy Vance. I did have don't ever draft a cornerback because I feel like they're so deep on my cheat sheet here. So that's great that I spent the second round pick on him, but it is what it is.
So are we putting him at AB? You want to put him at nickel, one of the starting corner roles?
You can put him at nickel. That's fine.
I should be able to figure out where I want to slot him overall.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. But I got a feeling
now we care. Oh, now we're paying attention.
I was going to let that go no matter what way they chose. So if that's the way we're doing it, that's the way we're doing it for now. What do you guys think? Greedy Vance, though. I mean, he's had a nice. The kid's really been on the upswing, right, Chris?
He's had a really good preseason, and he's a kid that's taken the next step. He's done a very good job. They talked about him today as being one of those guys that while nickel's kind of been his predominant role, he's also capable of being an outside corner for them. And he's had an excellent week. He had a pick today in their scrimmage. He also had a really, really impressive one earlier in the week, which is probably the best play we've ever seen him make in an FSU uniform. So, yeah.
And to be honest with you, the fact that he's having such a great preseason, really promising, because FSU, man, they are just freaks at wide receiver from a physical standpoint. And if Greedy's holding up with them, the technique's good, and the grit and the determination has always been there. Chris, you get 2 picks in a row now, provided one of these scumbags.
I mean, I'm going to go with Maurice Smith because he is the best center on the team, and it's a position where I don't love the next option as much as some of the other spots on the O-line.
I don't even know who the next option would be. All right, Mo Smith done. Who do you have? Again, Chris, you get another pick.
I'm going to go Johnny Wilson because he's a dude that has the insane wingspan, built like a condor, can do things, can catch it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'll go with Johnny. Make sure you put it on the right team.
Yeah, Kev, you got Greedy on the wrong team.
I mean, I love Greedy, but I ain't giving up Mo for him.
Well, shocking that it's getting confusing with all the sabotage and stuff. Great idea, AB. It's better than your NIL bag droppings and chicken droppings.
Hey, man, we don't get anybody in trouble here on this podcast. There any reason why you went with Johnny over Keon, Chris? Just familiarity with the offense?
I love them both. I think they're both 1A, 1B type of guys at wide receiver for them. Truthfully, I'm more excited about Keon because I think he's a guy that can do a little bit more of everything. But Johnny and Jordan have a familiarity that makes me think he's going to have a massive season.
I like that. I like the reasoning. Brendan, you get to go twice.
All right. I will, go with I don't want Chris to load up with an extra wide receiver position in that flex spot for athletes. I don't want him to load up on wide receivers. I think Keon Coleman is really close to Johnny Wilson. I want to prevent Chris from being able to get the cornering the market on the top 2 wide receivers in my mind. So I will take Keon Coleman here if I'm allowed to.
Mm-hmm. I'll
Pregnant pause. Okay. Kev will as well. Fantastic. Keon locked in. Give me another one, Brendan.
And then next up, I will go. I feel like this is early, but I'm happy to explain my logic if you guys want, but I'll take Darius Washington here. I can explain why.
I would like to hear
Homer.
With
he
the
desperately wants to have somebody can snap the ball.
For the record, I love Darius. Not taking a shot.
Is he your center, Brendan? Is that why?
Yeah, I will put him at center because after Maurice, I think Darius is probably, based on people I've talked to, from my own observation, I think Darius is the most competent player, and he's capable of playing guard, tackle, which is why I didn't want Chris to be able to take him and plug him in elsewhere, because I do feel like it gets fairly steep drop-off after those two. For what it's worth, Darius was praised a ton by Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins, saying he's played the best football of his life right now. So I don't know if he'll start, but he's going to play a huge role for Florida State this season. Love his journey. Happy to have him on the landing stickers.
Absolutely.
You did this last year, right? Where you just overdrafted centers.
And we're good, Kev.
We
We're
literally
good.
just watched you lose.
But not to get depth charty, but I think Darius is probably the next guy up. As much as I love Mo, and he was kind of definitively stated going into the preseason as the number one, the guy at that position. They've worked a lot of guys at center. Casey Roddick did a bunch in the spring. Stick was a guy who's done it historically. Darius has done it. I think in a game situation, if Mo was to go down, disappointingly, that D-Wash should be the next guy in there.
I mean, even today, Norvell said when Maurice only at today's scrimmage, 20 or so snaps for Maurice, and Darius snapped the football a good amount today. So I think we could draw a logical conclusion there of what was happening. Oh, Chattanooga Whiskey's coming up on me already.
Wait,
okay.
Do I have Greedy in the wrong place?
No, he's on my team.
You're good.
Okay.
Kev, come on, man. You got to be
I'm
ready for
behind.
prime time, brother.
Kev's
All right,
not
Chris.
drinking Chattanooga
Two
whiskey.
picks. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to
for
go
you.
with Trey Benson, 1,000-yard rusher. He's going to be that this year. He's that dude, so I'm comfortable with that. That's not a tough one to think about.
I'm going to block that one.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
Damn you, Kev.
Oh, I don't want you blocking that one, Kev. Damn it.
Actually, no. I'll take it back. You keep going.
What? You
I've got a
Indian
better
gave
one to
the
block that one.
sabotage? Okay, well,
I've
Chris,
got a
you've
better
got
one to block. Okay.
Trey Benson.
So I'll go with Jaheim Bell at tight end.
All right, so Trey Benson and Jaheim Bell are Chris's picks. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless Kev wants to screw it.
Nope, you're good.
Hey,
All right.
so
I was going
Jaheim-
to say it'd be foolish of Kev to block Trey Benson there because Chris could get Jaheim, or could have gotten him on the way back with the back-to-back picks make it interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Not worth
Chris,
Not to
James
give a
Bell,
strategy out.
what have you seen from him? There was a lot of promise, a lot of excitement going in when this kid committed to Florida State out of the transfer portal. Has he been, what he's been sold to be? Like, has he been that impressive, or is there still kind of a getting to know the offense period where he hasn't been unlocked yet?
Nah, he's comfortable in it. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can do a variety of things. You can line him up in the backfield. I don't think that's an intention of FSU to do that a lot, but he is capable of it. Did plenty at South Carolina. He's a dude that out of backfield can catch it. He can catch it lining up inside, in line. He can do it flexing out. You can use him as an outside receiver. He just so much positional flexibility with a young man like that. They've pressed him. With some of these guys, Keon Coleman, Jaheim Bell, Jeremiah Byer, some of the more high-level transfers that they brought in, I feel like they've kind of needled them and pressed them and forced them to understand, like, you're not getting handed anything. I think Jaheim Bell, among those other guys that I also mentioned, have all done a very good job of taking to that, handling it, and performing at a high level. And Jaheim, Kyle Morlock's very talented. Biscuit's very talented. They got a pretty good tight end room there, especially at the top. But Jaheim's just a guy that can do a whole heck of a lot. He was excellent in scrimmage one, very physical. His physicality has been very good in the preseason campaign. I thought that was one area where he needed to be not necessarily better at, but more consistent at. I feel like he's been that.
And with Benson, I mean, it's hard to know, right? But do you expect this to be like a feature back situation? Do we see like a running? Okay, so not as much of a committee type deal.
So they're still going to use 3 to 5 backs. I mean, Mike Norvell talked today about how they have 5 backs they trust. That goes down to CJ Campbell being the 5th guy, basically, with Keziah Holmes, Rodney Hill, Trey Benson, and LT Lawrence Toafili as those 5. But Benson's your dude. Benson's a guy that if you need a workhorse, you're going to lean in on a guy. I feel like it's him. I feel like he's taking the next step. He's physically transformed his body in a positive manner. I feel like he's made a great deal of effort at being a more receptive player in the sense of being part of the passing game, catching the ball, being more consistent with that. He's made an outward effort to be that guy. I trust Trey Benson. I'd never expect FSU to go completely away from using multiple guys in that room because that's how that room is constructed from a physical and mental standpoint. But Trey Benson is the guy in that room, and they're going to run the ball.
Talking heads, do we like how these teams are shaping up right now? Do we start to see kind of like a pile on, or do we still feel pretty competitive right now? Come on, Kuiper, McShay, what do we got?
I think knowing that Brendan's going to, potentially, I mean, somebody could give him AJ Duffy or Brock Glenn at some point.
No, we said no. No,
we can't. knowing that he's going to end up slotting Jordan Travison, I think makes it they're pretty even so far. I think that Chris has got a pretty heavy advantage at center. And I think ultimately the offensive line is going to play out in his favor, as it typically does, because Brendan will get wild and crazy there. But slotting a Trey Benson and Johnny Wilson in, I think when we're talking about like PFF grades, how we're going to judge these things is going to be pretty big for him.
Fair enough.
Does Jordan Travis could he be a flex player? I mean,
yeah, I was going to ask you guys that.
No, that's
how he
is. No, God, you're going to break everybody's brain. Just keep him as a quarterback. Brendan, give me.
I think Chris would like to do that.
This isn't 2019, Kev. Come on.
Yeah. Give me 2 picks, Brendan.
Okay. First off, I'm going to compliment Jared Verse with Patrick Payton.
You son of a bitch.
Look, dude, you should have seen Chris 5 minutes before. He's like, he would rather have been anywhere else. It could have been like Chinese water torture. And now look at it. Big pops into it.
Chris, don't worry. He's not going to pick Patrick Payton.
Is this Adam's last block?
I'm actually going to let you pick for him, Chris, if you would like to go ahead and pick.
Since
he was so kind enough to do that for you earlier, I think it's only fair that you give that payback.
I'll give him Byron Turner Jr. since we want to fill that DN slot up. And Byron's had a very good camp. He's a talented dude. So we'll go with Byron there. And hey, Byron's had an excellent camp. He's emerged as a consistent, dependable 3rd, 4th guy at that position group, along with Gilbert Edmond. Turner's violent at the point of attack. Main thing with him in his career at FSU has just been staying healthy. And he's finally had a preseason where he's been able to do that. So hopefully it carries over into the season. It'll be fine. But I'm very glad to gift that to my buddy Brendan Snow.
Wow. And with such a great description, it feels like you're almost doing him a favor. And with the back-to-back picks, Chris filled up the defensive end position so you can't get Pat Payton with the other pick. Crafty strategy by the veteran who does actually want to be here. Don't let the surly tone fool you. Brendan, little sad boy, what do we do now?
Oh, I'm not sad. I'm not sad.
Oh, why not? Tell me why.
want you guys to look at me closely. Chris, I want eye contact as I'm doing this.
You're going to take Byers, aren't you?
I wish you guys, for the people that are listening to audio only, you got to watch these videos, dude. That's where the weird stuff happens. All right. Stare unblinking into the camera and make your pick.
Brendan is drafting Jeremiah Byers, the offensive lineman who has the highest ceiling of any player on the offensive line group.
That's why I wanted to block.
What?
Well, you have the final block.
He wanted to block him.
I thought we were friends.
He wanted to block him from Chris's team.
I was going to make sure Chris couldn't get Byers.
Oh, well, then you know what, Kev?
No. The words have already come out of my mouth.
You got him. It's true. The pick's in. Sorry,
all right,
brother.
left or right?
Right tackle on the other depth chart.
I think this is an interesting pick, though. He's been described, and I want to ask the two of you, he's been described as potentially the most talented player of guys that would start this year. I think we would all agree that maybe Lucas Simmons is potentially the most talented player in that room, but is it a given that Jeremiah Byers is going to play the number of snaps that I don't want to talk depth chart, obviously. We don't want to have that conversation here, but
Alex Atkins today straight up said they may play 8. Like that's very much in the plans. They're ultra comfortable with 8 guys on that O-line. Maurice, we've talked about. Darius, we've talked about. Jeremiah Byers, we're now talking about. Obviously, other guys would be like a Casey Roddick, Dimitri Emmanuel, Meach, Robert Scott, and then Bless Harris. So you run into the conundrum of Robert Scott, Bless Harris, and Jeremiah Byers are all very capable tackles. So you got 3 for 2 spots. So how does it work out? I don't know. I thought going into camp, because Robert Scott had been so physically beaten up, that they were going to be very slow with him. And they were. There was a plan for return to action, but he's progressively done more in preseason practice as we went on. I thought that would be Byers' job to take. I'm not convinced of that. I'm also not convinced he'll take Bless Harris's job, because Bless has been very steady Eddie in camp, and we know they like Bless a great deal based on last year. So it's interesting. They could truthfully slide him in the guard and play him, but I don't think that's their intention. I think somebody like Casey Roddick's probably more likely to start at guard, and somebody like Dimitri Emmanuel is probably more likely to start at guard. So it's very interesting. That's probably, truthfully, from a depth chart standpoint, when it is released by FSU in game week, that's the number one thing I'm most interested in. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I think Byers is going to play a hell of a lot. I think Byers' ceiling is so good. His ability, what he is capable of doing, is unlike anybody else you have in that group. And we all know how much I like him. The key for him is being consistent. And he's had some great days of practice. He's also had some days where he didn't have the best days. But it's a matter of stack good days and show that they can trust you against the LSU and the Clemsons of the world. And he'll be a starter in the end. But I don't know that he's a starter out of the gate.
I think the film kind of jives with that too. We were very impressed by the movement skills, the athleticism. There were some times where he almost got a little too cute with some of the moves, forgot some of the fundamentals and made a couple whiffs. But man, when that kid is moving, especially in this Mike Norvell offense, he's going to be a force. And I think a good pick by Brendan, man. Nice job. Chris, you get to counter with 2. Kevin still has a sabotage lurking out somewhere in the ether. Will he leave Chris undisturbed? Watch and find out.
Well, with Byers being off the board, I'll go ahead and go with Bless Harris, and I'll throw him to left. And then I'll go with Rob Scott and throw him to right. I have my bookends. They're the next 2 tackles on the board. I just talked about it. I think those 2 plus Byers, you're going to get a really good starting 2 with a very capable 3rd guy in that group. And then it goes to probably a Julian Armella as the next guy in that group. But there's a tier system, and those first 3 are on a tier that Julian is not yet at. Julian's a guy they can trust, but I don't think Julian's a guy they want to rush out there and play.
Brendan, how's Bless been in the run blocking game? We were all very impressed with his pass sets, particularly during the spring game. How's he been in the run game?
Pretty good. He's strong. He's got nimble feet. I do agree with your assessment. Pass blocking is where, to me, he shines the most. Even that was the spring. Also, preseason camp here, you see him get locked up one-on-one. Some talented edge rushers, and he is really hard to get around. He's a big dude who moves well. But you see, he is a good run blocker. Similar strengths there, right? He's got quick feet and he's strong. So when he's able to get his hands on you, it's going to work out pretty well for him most of the time. In general, Trey, I think FSU's run blocking is going to be the strength of the offensive line this year. They're going to be able to run the football against most teams on the schedule at a pretty effective level, I would imagine.
So you
go
said
ahead.
Bless Harris and Robert Scott, right?
Yeah, and throw Bless at left and put Robert at right. They're interchangeable in
Oh,
my
okay.
view of it all. But what?
Don't make Kev copy and paste again, please.
I'm on it.
You guys can do like organic chemistry. Control C, Control V.
You know, you guys should,
befuddled.
you
Absolutely
guys should have to do
befuddled.
this sometime. I don't
Why
know.
didn't you just not have the formatting when you paste it?
Brandon, just let the man do what he does.
All right.
I mean, he's running this.
let him
show.
cook.
Website. It wants to include the
Don't
link.
mess with
Brendan,
the
you
tech
keep
guys,
this
dude.
up, and the chicken man's gonna send somebody to
You're
off.
done, bro. You're gonna get some bad eggs. I can tell you what, dude. You're gonna get plucked, brother. Brendan, 2 picks for you. The teams are really starting to take the identity and the shape of their general managers. Brendan, give me 2. Kevin, he might be coming for you now, Brendan. You better watch out. A little saboteur action after that critique.
Okay. I am going to go. Wow, this is tough. I feel like there's a lot of strategy that's starting to kind of like pop up here. I will go with at defensive tackle, Braden Fisk. I love him. He's a ton of fun. It just hurt Chris's feelings.
Yeah,
It
that was
did.
a deep sigh in the man's soul.
I didn't feel like I had to go defensive tackle super early because that's even with the Daryl Jackson news, it's such a strength. But like Braden Fisk is so unique in his skill set. He can do so many different things. And the combination of him and Jared Verse together, very excited about what that'll be in the season. I'm excited to have that on my roster. So Fisk here.
Defensive line looking good. All right, Brendan. Number
next
2.
pick, I will go with Shaheem Brown at safety. I have question marks at some safety spots, some of the safety like depth and just overall. I don't know if that's a clear-cut strength right now, but I see Shaheem Brown ascending really rapidly in the back half of preseason camp. A lot of talent, puts it all together. He'll be a Sunday type of player. So I'll assure that I have him locked up in my secondary, and I think that unlocks a lot of possibilities for the defense with him there. So
Adam, what do you think about those 2 picks, shoring up the defense? We expect big things out of those 2 guys. We did a whole video. Our defensive line preview is basically just like a Braden Fisk, like highlight show. What do you think about Shaheem Brown, man? I feel like he's been getting some nice positive practice reports the past couple of days. We starting to feel more comfortable with the safety position this season?
It seems like it. I'm a little surprised Brendan went with him this early, but I know that Brendan's pretty high on him as a playmaker, and generally speaking, he gets probably the best player of the safety group locked up. So I think that forces Chris's hand a little bit. But the player to talk about is Braden Fisk. I mean, Brendan's building a hell of a defensive line right now, which is shocking for him. He's not
competent draft strategy, Adam.
I'm almost speechless with Brendan making competent picks here. But pairing Fisk with Verse, those are 2 dudes that are going to. I'm enjoying all the Delaware Chicken Farmer comments in the chat. Pairing Verse and Fisk together is incredible. Those are 2 dynamic pass rushers that are going to play well next to each other. I expect for this exercise that the 2 of them will grade out pretty well in the season.
So let me just talk about this real quick because I have a question about Shaheem. To me, he has the frame of a strong safety. You know, he's a guy, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a bigger guy. A strong safety is usually the kind of guy you bring into the box to kind of be an extra like run setter in, cover 3 type situations. But they tend to use him a lot as the free safety. A lot of that like kind of roaming, deep safety. They consider him a free safety, a true free safety, right?
I think he is the replacement to Jamie Robinson, who was the free safety. Like Akeem Dent was the buck or the boundary side safety for a good chunk of last year. I don't know how much I feel like it's also like a thing that was more prevalent in Adam Fuller's defense a few years ago, and they're more malleable now with their safeties. But to answer your question directly, Kevin, I think space, free field safety for Shaheem is probably where he's most likely going to play this season.
Yeah. Great clarification, Kevin. Christopher, 2 picks, please. Kind sir.
I'll go with Fentrell Cypress. I think he's the most well-rounded corner on a football team. Love him. He's always in the right position. He's battled with a guy like Keon Coleman, had really good moments. I'm comfortable with that. And I'll go with Kalen DeLoach. I'll take the athletic
linebacker off the board.
both linebackers really good at that top tier, which is Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach.
I'm gonna block that one.
You're gonna block one. Okay. All right, Kev. I'm gonna remember
Kevin's
this.
out. Kevin's out.
Chris,
I didn't want that.
You're going to block it, so Chris has to just pick a different player, or
No, I'm gonna give.
You're gonna pick for me?
Yeah.
Just to really piss him off. Go ahead, Kev. Lead into it. This is your villain arc. Go ahead.
Just remember, you stand on the third level of the baseball stadium with me sometimes.
Oh, he's threatening death via fall, and it'll
It
look
won't
like an
kill,
accident.
but it could maim.
Oh, he's
Kev,
gonna
he's gonna put
Batman
you off
you.
He's going to put you off the top of the dick.
He's gonna Batman you, dude. It's not gonna kill you. That's what I'm counting on. Snaps both of his legs. Oh, thank you for letting me reference that. Go ahead, Kevin. You made your enemy. Rethink it.
I just yeah.
Kev, can I converse with Kev on this, or is this totally?
Yeah, Brendan, give me some
sidebar.
ideas.
This is.
I just wanted to
collusion.
block the linebacker more than anything.
All right. Make them go. It's an interior offensive line heavy team. I would take like a potential 2 deep interior offensive line guy. Make that a wasted pick for Chris.
Yeah,
Keanu Jones, maybe.
Wait, no. Your sabotage was you pick Kevin. You do it without any outside counsel. Nullify. Strike what Brendan just said and be a man and piss off Chris your own way. Go ahead. Stricken from the record. Ooh, we love dead air on the radio.
Yeah, I don't know. I need some help. Brendan,
Kev,
you choose for
how
me.
about Quindarius Jones?
How about Kev? How about you undo what you did? I wanted him to take the linebacker.
I want to take the linebacker from him.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm happy with that decision. It's just who do I want to replace?
Who's the other half of the decision?
So can I just make another pick?
Can you just maybe he already has a tight end? Maybe give him another tight end, so he's kind of forced.
This is like when the Vikings missed their pick and the next team just went and took who they wanted. I mean,
Not yet. We're gonna get to the painful
he needs to take his
conclusion of
kicker
this.
already. I don't know, Kev. There's so many options. Just pick one.
I'm gonna go with Farmer on the inside.
Josh Farmer.
All right. Josh Farmer's a good player.
Josh Farmer locked in. What have we seen from Josh Farmer? I mean, the guy in the offseason, we didn't even know if he was going to be a part of the team, to be honest with you. What are we seeing from him? Is he going to be with Darrell Jackson as of right now not being able to play until all the politicians rise up and do something that actually seems useful for the first time in their lives and maybe get Darrell Jackson back? That'd be cool. What are we seeing from Josh Farmer? We ready? Is he going to be ready for the expanded role? Chris?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with Josh Farmer. I mean, I think Braden Fisk is the best guy in that room in the sense of preseason contribution. Fabian Lovett, we know who and what he is, what he's capable of. With Josh Farmer, he's a 2 deep type of guy at a position where they're going to rotate plenty and use multiple different bodies. He's a big body, he can move people off the spot. He's a violent guy when he gets downhill. Again, kind of like how we talked about Jeremiah Byers on the offensive side. I think the key for Josh Farmer is just being a more consistent rep-to-rep, day-to-day kind of guy. There are days where Josh Farmer looks like arguably one of the best defensive linemen. I think scrimmage 1, he had some wreaking havoc kind of moments. The key for him is just doing it consistently. I can live with that. Like, I mean, I get, like, you stole a linebacker from me who I probably will just draft with my next pick, but whatever.
Well, the sabotages are done now. Our little saboteurs can go back to analysis. And Brendan, you're up 2 picks. That was fun, though. I like the wrinkle. I like it when it gets stupid. This is a stupid event.
Can I explain why I blocked that?
Yeah, Go ahead, buddy. Yes.
I feel like the linebackers have the least depth. Like, you don't know what you're getting after the first 2 on a real game-to-game basis.
Kev clearly did not listen to today's interview about DJ Lundy ascending. Just saying.
Well, correct him then. Correct him then,
Brendan. To be, as soon as Chris took the 1 linebacker, I was going to scoop in and take 2, and that's where the fall-off happened. So, Kev, you screwed me over while trying to screw Chris over. Thank you.
You can still take the 2 linebackers.
But it's less value.
You're leaving them with some real sketch.
Brendan, answer, do you agree with Kevin's depth concern at linebacker? Are we feeling pretty confident in the 3 and 4?
I feel really confident.
Or whatever they may be.
Yes, they run 2 primarily at once under Adam Fuller. Kalen DeLoach and Tatum Bethune are the 2 guys. They're veterans. They've been solid players throughout the duration of their career. Tatum Bethune, I think, was like 13 all ACC. I almost said all SEC. What is this, 2025?
Oh, what a mistake.
I really like DJ Lundy.
Get on that, chicken man.
I like what DJ Lundy has done this preseason. I found myself gravitating towards like watching him pre-play and where he goes because he's so quick at diagnosing. He's gotten so comfortable at linebacker. Adam Fuller today called him the most improved player at the position this preseason camp. Then you get to Omar Graham. They like him. He's just younger. He's inexperienced. In-game reps are missing right there. They do like him. And then after that, you're talking about true freshmen at linebacker. And while they like Juice Cryer as well as Blake Nicholson, those are two really unproven commodities that I think will be good over time. Not early on in the year. I don't think so. So
his nickname is Juice?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. He's up on my board. Good nickname. Solid nickname. Brendan, give me 2 picks. They're very good explanation.
Thank you. I will go with my strategy gets altered a little bit here. You know what? I really like my pass rush. I'd like strengthening strengths, which also means I'm going to have a good secondary as well. If my pass rush is going to be good, I already have my nickel and my free safety. I'm going to go with Renardo Green at cornerback as well as a Zaire Thomas at corner. A steady Eddie and then a upcoming promising high upside type of corner who's had a really good preseason camp. Dane Draper's doing cartwheels right now.
That's interesting to me. We know what we get with Renardo Green. I think personally he might be one of my favorite players on the entire football team. I love watching him play, the technique that he attacks the football with and just the aggression, the physicality. We've talked about Renardo when I'm on the screen a bajillion times. AZ Thomas is interesting that you're using him as your other starting corner on your team, which is a guy that weren't super impressed with, I think, in the spring. What has that been like? Has it just been a true complete 180? What do you think,
yes,
Brendan?
It has been. So do a little digging, check around. He was hurt in the spring. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And it's this element I feel like we collectively, like not just in media, but like sports fans in general, like overlook. If you're not 100%, if you're not feeling good at this level of competition, like even being 90%, like if you're going to get someone who's 100%, it makes a big difference. And so he looked kind of sluggish. He lost confidence in the spring. It was a rough spring for him. It has been a complete 180 trade. Like he has been so confident. He's been so bouncy and twitchy, all the cool traits, all the upside that we saw from him last spring, like 2 springs ago. And then towards the end of last season, remember the Oklahoma game in his PBU? Mm-hmm. That's all been there and then some. He's malleable. He's been like talked about as a super versatile chess piece in the secondary, confident, long, athletic. Like he rounds up my secondary. If I end up wanting to move him to safety, I probably could too, like depending on how the rest of the draft goes. I'd got to say, guys, I nailed this pick. It was really good.
So here's my thing. I think there's a bigger drop off between AZ Thomas and Renardo. I think there's a smaller drop off between those 2 corners and what else you can choose from corners than what you could have grabbed at linebacker or putting Fabian Levitt at defensive tackle. Well, so I'm kind of confused why, there's value, but there's also value over replacement, which is bigger when on a 1v1 draft, right?
Brendan, Kev. Brendan.
I mean, all right, we'll just let it see how it plays out and let me know.
Fabian Levitt not drafted yet. He is going to see this and he's going to be irate.
I mean, you could have. I thought Chris had an opportunity with his last pick before it got blocked to take Renardo Green and really.
Yeah,
putting Fentrell and Renardo Green next to each other, I thought would have really put him over the edge. But
AB, I got nervous because of that when I saw what
I thought he was going to. I thought he was going to, but the linebacker pick makes sense because I agree with Kev that the drop off after those 3, and look, there's been a drop off from those 2 down to Lundy in previous years, and we'll see where that kind of is this season as we get into it. But yeah, I mean, there feels like there's 3 linebackers, and you guys are getting ready to race to see who gets the best of that group.
It also feels like there's 2 interior defensive tackles that are above the rest that you're you're missing out on. To me personally.
Oh, the talking heads are really. Ooh, that's some good analysis.
Revealing the draft boards. What are we doing here? Jesus.
This is good stuff. Anyway, Chris, go ahead after that almost destructive criticism.
Take Abo and a linebacker.
Brendan left. He left.
I'm going to take Kalen DeLoach. Shocking, I know. I tried to take him a minute ago. And Fabian Levitt. who I intended to take before any of that tangent happened. Just so
Because
you
that's the
know.
smart move. Oh my
Yes,
god.
it
was.
is.
I'm trying to help
I'm a
Brendan out
genius.
over here.
Thank you, Kev. I'm a genius.
It was sitting there in
On
front
to
of you, and it was
Brendan.
sitting there in front of Brendan, and I don't really know why.
I don't want Kalen DeLoach. Well, I do want Kalen DeLoach, but give Chris Kalen DeLoach. No, I got my strategy. You guys, I'm playing so many moves ahead of you right now. You have no idea what.
4D chess. Absolutely.
You could have just had a dominant front six.
Oh
Chris-
no, I'm just gonna have a bad dude. I'm gonna take Dennis Briggs, who gets to the quarterback interiorly like better than anyone else in the country, along with
He's
Brady
just-
Fitz and
He's
Jerry.
What
going to
did you
hand the
just
ball
say?
to Trey
Materially.
Benson and run for
Materially.
400 yards against
For the
you.
record, I love Dennis Briggs. We all know
I do
this.
too.
I've been a fan club
too.
president for a long time. I couldn't do it because I'm that guy. So good. Take him. That's who Brendan.
I'm not taking him yet. I'm going to let you take him with the second to last.
Wait
pick
a
of the
minute.
draft.
Wait a minute.
Hold
Let me
up.
get some analysis. Fabian Lovett
Yes.
changes the composition of the defensive line. We saw that, particularly in the run game. The durability concerns me, and only because he's so good. I mean, has he looked 100% in camp? What's the deal with him? Like, has he looked dominant? He's kind of the guy that, like I said, you're drafting him in like the 11th round, and the kid's one of the 5 best players on the entire team. He's kind of like the forgotten superstar a little bit of that defensive line. Don't you feel, Chris?
Well, Trey's trying to get me to stay home on Wednesday with that question. So
Oh, okay. Never mind.
lightly.
Okay,
But,
go around.
I'll
it
just
then,
say
whatever.
they have a return to play plan for certain individuals, like Robert Scott, for example. When Fabian Lovett plays, FSU is a really good football team.
Do you
Fantastic.
think it'd be better just to name someone else?
Hey, I ask the dumb questions. You filter them and make them so you don't get yelled at. I'm in
Derek
Iowa.
Satterfield,
Nobody
address
yells
your
at me.
questions to Trey Rowland, please, not me.
I won't answer.
I agree with you on the ability to complete a season, play as much as you hope. It's kind of like the old Delvin Cook NFL question, where I think last year was the first full season.
Yes,
he
that's what
played.
I meant.
I get it with Lovett. They're making every effort to prepare him to handle a season and put him out there and have him contribute. And when he does, they're an excellent football team.
Good.
And
That's what
the numbers say that.
That's what I wanted to know. I don't.
And
care
I
how he
love
is now.
DeLoach at linebacker as much as I love Bethune. And hey, I'm going to try to draft him at some point here if I can.
Ooh.
Brendan will
Yeah.
let
See
you.
about that
I'll
one.
take DeLoach because he's more athletic of the two, and that's just what translates better for me.
All right, Brendan, what are you doing? You drinking whiskey, eating
Hold on, I
peanuts?
have a
Time for you to-
question
go ahead,
first.
Adam.
I have a question first. We just got done talking about, and Chris named himself the fan club president of the Dennis Briggs fan club, and Brendan's going to take him with the second to last pick, yada, yada, yada. If you could undo the Josh Farmer pick, would you slot Dennis Briggs in there, or would you stay with Josh Farmer?
I would have stayed with Josh Farmer.
Okay.
I think Briggs is a guy who plays high-level reps. I think Farmer is a guy who plays more reps.
Gotcha. Understood. Kind of the quantity, especially if he's going to be your starting D.
I think it's interesting, though, because it does seem like Briggs is going to be a package type of player, and he is really good if he's back to where he was 2 years ago, pre NC State cheap shot. NC State or Louisville? Louisville. I'm sorry. Apologize. Louisville cheap shot.
Out Satterfield.
That's a dude that has real juice, and he was maybe one of the better pass rushers, and I've claimed he was the best pass rusher on that team before that injury. And that was a team with Johnson and Keir Thomas on it. So I'm just curious of that answer, because if he's back to where he was, I mean, I think that Briggs has got a chance to maybe be one of your top 3. But
yeah, if Darrell Jackson's not available, I agree with you.
Correct.
All right, Brendan, 2 picks.
I will go with 2 linebackers in a row. I love DJ Lundy, so just ceremoniously, I'm putting DJ Lundy first, and then I'm going to take Tatum Bethune to round out. Defense is looking really good, gents. Really, really good defense. So that's my 2 linebackers going back-to-back picks.
Okay,
Football's an offensive game these days. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but
That's
Jordan
like,
Travis will be my starting quarterback.
yeah, I know. Some people get lucky because Kev's gonna get thrown off of Dick Hauser.
Throw him off the dick.
If anything happens to
I did
Kevin
that
Little in the
purpose.
next couple of weeks, unfortunately, this will be inserted into evidence in the criminal case.
I cannot believe that I put myself on the line just to help you get the 2 starting linebackers.
Thanks, Kev.
And your next move, okay.
I got the 2 starting linebackers. Well,
Okay.
Oh, that's Brendan Sonoon, Mr.
Yeah.
Satterfield. Brendan
You
Sonoon.
guys kid. It always get around minute 50. It starts to get stupid. Chris, 2 picks.
I'll go ahead and finish out with the O line. I'll do Casey Roddick and Dimitri Emmanuel.
Mitch.
Roddick, how's he adjusted?
Good. A lot of center in the spring. I think that was sort of a test kit type of thing to kind of figure out if he can be a guy there if Maurice was to go down, because that's a position where you don't feel great about the next guy up in the sense of like a definitive guy pushing Maurice. But he's a guard, and he's a big body guard. He kind of looks like the dude that should be the bouncer at the club or the first man off the bus, and he plays like that too. So I feel good about it. And with Meach, I mean, Meach is the guy on the team who's the closest to my actual age. So I appreciate that with him. And, I feel good about it. He's played about 8,000 snaps in his college career. I feel like he's going to handle himself pretty good.
I like veteran presence. I like that. I wouldn't have a team with Chris Neeby and the GM value anything but a veteran presence. And that is a solid offensive line, Adam. What do we think? Is the trench guy? That looks pretty good.
Chris may have just, I don't know. I've not been at practice. Chris may have just slotted the starting 5 against LSU onto his roster here. And
could be. We won't know because we're not going to
Brendan took
reveal
Jeremiah
it.
Byers before 5 of them, actually. He took Jeremiah Byers for all 5 of them. So that pick feels like a swing pick in this whole process. I'm curious to see how it plays out. As is everybody, hopefully he's a superstar like a lot of people.
He just wanted to hurt my feelings with the Byers pick.
He did. I felt like he got emotional there. He went for the
I
heart.
should have
instead
taken
of
plus.
This whole thing's been
the right pick.
Yeah, I feel like this is a nice passive aggressive
It was
way to get the
always
workplace. It was Kevin Costner with the little slip of paper. All right, Brendan. Time for you to get some offense, I think, right, buddy?
Maybe.
Or not. Don't listen to me. Kicker's open.
I feel like the people in the comments section don't understand strategy. I don't, you guys, like if Chris took Darius Washington,
they're the ones struggling.
They understand that you read every comment
Don't
about you
criticize
and you get sad about it.
You know who's not looking at the comment section? I love
those
all of you.
For those
This
curious.
guy.
Go ahead, Adam. For those
can
curious,
I move
what?
Azaria Thomas to safety by any chance? Chris, I'll let Chris answer it. Would that be?
You can do whatever you want, buddy. It's a free country.
I'm going to move Azaria Thomas to safety.
You
Okay.
just want me to copy and paste in front of everybody.
Yep, come on, let's see.
He's also trying to cut me off at the knees from a cornerback position standpoint.
Yep, exactly.
Oh.
And I will take Jarian Jones here.
So
Badass. He's getting better.
high level nickel option who can also be a corner.
Outside, like the physicality, playing with confidence. I like the malleability. Third time I've said it this podcast. I'll use a different word, the versatility and flexibility of that DB room. A lot.
All right, thesaurus boy. You like him better on the inside or the outside?
Yes. I think it's
Fantastic. All right, next pick.
I think it's time that Jarian has been talked about as a guy who could play inside or outside. Greedy Vance is a guy who could play outside or inside. Again, flexibility is at a premium here on landing stickers.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
The Azaria Thomas move itself just blew my mind. I'm not going to get into it too much, obviously, but
He played safety a few snaps last year, and it's not. I don't think
rolled
it's
into safety whenever they would go into nub.
Yeah. Yep. So it's
That's
not.
not playing safe. Okay.
it's interesting.
Kev, do we like the positional shift from Brendan, or is it silly time?
I don't know. It's been silly time. The offensive lines just speak for themselves.
Kev's writing his will right now.
No, Chris.
He's gonna kill you.
I felt Brendan started so high, and it's been a slow
Yeah,
process.
you're gonna be high
Oh.
on top of the baseball stadium for a couple
here's the
seconds.
take of
Like,
tape.
Down below. Not on the
Moving AZ
baseball
to
stadium.
safety, waving the white flag.
Oh no! Oh, he out strategeried himself. All right, Brendan, you got another pick to shove it in the comment section.
I mean, I'm just saying that I'm operating with about 100% more information than the people in the comment section.
Oh, in your face,
And you're
internet
still wrong.
people. But thank you for watching, and we love you guys. It's not totally crap on the
All right,
audience.
here you go, Brendan. Here you go.
All right.
buddy.
No cap. I like Brendan's
Zero
team.
cap. Ryan loves Brendan's team.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's operating with more information.
Really gonna make me feel better. At wide receiver, I will go with Destin Hill. Chris, you want? I got two of the most sure-handed guys on my roster right now: Keon Coleman, Destin Hill, playmakers, boot boys. Let's go.
We're
You
just
think
gonna
he's
take
gonna-
the ball away and not play for punts.
What do we think, Chris? We expect a lot out of Destin Hill.
I do.
Interesting situation to even get here. A lot of people question what type of condition did he come in, and has he been impressing that much?
He is in phenomenal shape. It's kind of mind-blowing for a guy who's basically been in witness protection for 2 years. I'm joking with that comment for the record. That he came in as good of shape as he is. It's mind-blowing. Alex Atkins today summed him up with he has a desire, I think was the comment.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% right. We talked about like in the spring how Dre Jacobs, who we all love, all day Dre, will go get a football. Keon Coleman has that factor to him. Mm-hmm. He has a desire to go get a football. Destin Hill has that factor. He wants to go get the football, but he also just wants to be good. Like he wants to be a sponge. I love Destin Hill. I intended to pick him. So, yeah, good pick.
Nice. Well, you get to make 2 good picks of your own, Chris. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and go with Winston Wright and Kentron as my flex. So I'm going to finish up my offense with that. With Winston Wright, he's the other slot guy. Him and Destin Hill kind of feel like 2 slot guys that have emerged as the primary guys that I think they're going to lean in on. I think All Day Dre can factor into that too, but I think those 2 are a little bit more ahead. And then with Tron, he's a guy who had a phenomenal spring for them. I think they feel really comfortable out. What? Yeah, King of Spring, yes. I think they feel very good about where he's at and what he's capable of doing. Keon Coleman coming in kind of has thrown some, cold water on the whole thing. But at the end of the day, Tron's going to make some plays for this football team.
If Brendan didn't pick Destin Hill and you were going for your slot guy, would you have still picked
I intended to take Winston Wright and Destin Hill as my next 2 picks, with Destin being my flex. That was my pre-Brendan picks.
So you would have taken Destin over King of Spring.
Yes. I think Destin
fun.
Yes.
That is fun.
All right. Because I think Johnny and Keon claim so many reps on the outside that it hinders Tron to a degree. Because FSU's going to play with 1 to 2 tight ends pretty regularly in running back. So they're not going to roll out their 5 wide. I don't expect them to go empty 5 wide a bunch. And when they do, I expect a running back and a tight end to be out there. I don't care about returning punts. You don't need to worry about returning punts when you're getting takeaways. Adam Fuller's so proud of me right now for saying takeaways. I like Destin Hill a heck of a lot. Destin Hill is an inside-outside capable guy. He can do a whole hell of a lot. I'm amazed at who and what he is, 15 practices into his college career for a guy who was MIA for 2 years. It's not trying to be hyperbolic or anything. It's a whacked ass story. Like it's an amazing thing to see.
Whacked ass.
But it is like it's amazing.
It is, dude. It's a very apt description.
This is a guy who I wrote off 12 months ago because, well, that never happens. A guy never disappears and suddenly reappears and is good.
Yeah, and Bear Pig. I didn't know if he existed.
But no, go read Alex Atkins' quote on him today. That's why I like Destin Hill so damn much.
On Noles247 and be a subscriber to read that quote.
Trey, a question for both, but I'd like to hear Brendan's thoughts though. Is it encouraging that Winston Wright seemed to have a good day today in the scrimmage, and that Mike singled him out and talked about that he made a guy miss? Is that something you guys have seen in practices? Is that encouraging news as we inch closer to LSU?
Yeah, it's encouraging. I didn't know if Chris wanted to go or not. Winston
asked you, buddy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, directly. Yep.
This is like when they explain the rules of the draft and you just didn't pay attention.
Sponsored by Chattanooga Whiskey, Cast Strength. Anyway, Brendan, what do you think Winston Wright, bud?
He has, it's been it's been a remarkable story that he's even here given the injury that he suffered.
Whacked ass injury.
Yeah, sure. He moves at a really high level. You see some of the twitch and the little water bug type of maneuverability that he had when he was at West Virginia. You see glimpses of that. And given that he just keeps getting progressively more athletic looking, I'm willing to bank on upside of him continuing to get better and more athletic looking during the course of the next 3 months or so. So he moves well. I think he's got a lot of confidence. And for him to be performing well in today's scrimmage, which was live contact and full go, that's a good sign, AB, of what you can expect for him moving forward.
All right, Brendan, you're full go. 2 picks.
Kind of interesting here. I think Chris and I are done, like in terms of like trying to like steal each other's board, other than kicker. We're good. So I'll go with the guy who I think would be the starting kicker. I don't know. This isn't a projected depth chart. This is just me guessing.
Just a guess. Yep.
No, I legitimately, for what it's worth, I don't think they know yet. Like I don't think they've had that decision made.
Okay, that's good.
But I think it'll be Ryan Fitzgerald. I like the way he's kicked the ball this preseason. I think he's been the most consistent. If it were me, I would put Ryan Fitzgerald as my starting kicker. I'll go with him. A redemption year for Ryan Fitzgerald. I know it's not going to grab headlines. People aren't going to love it. But we're not picking for the people. We're picking to win games. And I think Ryan Fitzgerald is going to be in a position to help you win games this year.
No, Brendan, the people do not like your pits at all. Cotton Fitzsimmons is a landing sticker. One more pick.
Well, real quick, Tyler Keltner has been really good for Ryan Fitzgerald.
Okay, kind of rising tide type of deal, huh?
Yeah, I think they've been beneficial in the room of working together. Keltner's obviously got a lot of college experience. I think they've pushed each other while enjoying the competition and working with one another. I think it's been a positive. Ryan's had a better preseason kicking the ball in the sense of how it comes off his foot than he's ever had at FSU.
Love that. Brendan, another pick.
We're going to start having fun here because this offense is so deep with potential playmakers. Like, we're going to have a quality player not on one of our rosters is how this is going to end up working out. But at tight end, I'll go Kyle Morlock. I think his upside, his athleticism.
Well, you just won Dane's vote. Good job.
That's all that really matters. I have AZ and Kyle Morlock
somewhere.
Yeah, man. I like Kyle Morlock a lot. I like where he's going. I think he's starting to kind of figure it out and ascend a little bit. Still an adjustment period. What he's going to be in 2024, I think it's going to be really impressive. But like, I think there's enough there this year to where he's going to be able to create mismatches with the rest of my skill positions that are starting to kind of come in line here. Like he's going to fit into like what's going to be a pretty like explosive, deep shot based type of offense. So I'm going with him over Biscuit for like I think fit for what I want to do.
Yeah, the physical profile too. Very impressive. Good to see that he's coming on after. You know what? A lot of these transfers do have that adjustment period during spring. If you remember, guys, we talked Kyle Morlock, Fentrell Cypress. A lot of people are like, "Oh, do we get lemons?" It's like, no, man. It's a new team. They're going to be what they were, and that's the value of the transfers. Is you have all that past data to go from to make your analysis. And Mike Norvell, Dirty Mike, and the boys rarely miss on that. So I'm glad to see that he's what we all knew he was going to be. So it's good to get that confirmation. Chris, 2 picks from you, bro.
I mean, it's weird because we are not really picking against each other at this point. I will go with Pat Payton to go ahead and take him off the board, and we'll finish up that DN room with Gilbert Edmond. On Pat, really, really good preseason, good spring. He's a guy that's ascending. He's, Pat Payton's one of those guys that probably would get a little bit more shine if a Jared Verse didn't exist. But Jared Verse is just so good that like it gobbles a little bit of that up. But Pat's a very talented dude. Pat's the kind of guy I'm very interested if he pushes himself into being a draft prospect this year, or like a high level draft prospect, or if we get lucky and get another year from him. And then Gilbert Edmonds, more developmental type. There's flashes, there's moments. I think Byron's been a better of those two guys that we view as that next tier up at that position. But Gilbert has a high ceiling. I think Gilbert's a guy that's going to be a very good football player at the end of his FSU career. I just don't know how far he gets to that point during this coming season. But he's going to contribute. He's going to be good. He's athletic. He's a big body. He can do a lot of things. It's just a matter of kind of continuing to bring him along.
Good, Adam.
Coming out of the spring, it was we talked about it quite a bit after the spring game. There was a lot of concern about where that defensive end room was, and they got Edmond in. Do you feel like the 1 and 2, like there was it just felt like a massive distance from DN1, DN2, and again, we're not doing the whole depth chart thing, but I think everybody kind of understands,
right?
It's
they've talked about it as it's kind of like linebacker room. They talk about 1, 2, 3, Omar Graham being the 4th and finding 5 and 6. With the DN room, they talk about Verse and Payton, right, and then those next 2 guys stepping up and also figuring out 5 and 6.
Do you feel as though the distance between the tier of that 1 and 2 and that 3 and 4 has shrunk at all?
No, I don't. Brendan can chime in on this too. I don't think it has, because I think 1 and 2 are really special players. 1 is an elite defensive lineman. Right, that's the exact way JP described him today. Pat Payton is capable of ascending to a point that's in that realm. not necessarily the same ballpark, but pretty damn close. I don't think the next two guys are bad by any stretch. I love Byron Turner. I think Byron Turner is a really, really talented dude who's got a violent punch, who has a very high ceiling, who if he's able to stay healthy for 15, 14, 13 straight games, he's going to be really, really good. I just think there is still a tier system to it. It's a matter if you're playing 70 reps in a game, I want it to be 45-25. With those first two each being 45 guys and the next two being 25 type guys. But I feel more comfortable about the contribution that you're going to get from Turner and from Edman than I did coming out of spring. I think they've both Turner's a matter of staying healthy and getting bigger, which he has. He's about 20 pounds in his career. Edman's a matter of just becoming a better football player. Gilbert Edmonds very, very talented, and he has a want to. It's a matter of just being a better football player. Understand the position, the techniques, the fundamentals, going and applying that and doing it consistently rep to rep.
That was going to be my follow-up to you. If not to talk worst case scenarios or anything like that, outside of Jordan Travis being healthy for the full season, if there's a worst case scenario, is it at the defensive end position for the defense?
Don't put that into the atmosphere, brother.
To a degree, yes. They talked today about how they feel really good about their depth, but there are some positions that can get thin kind of fast. I think DN's one of those. I think 1 to 2 is very good. 3 to 4 is a different tier, and then it very much descends from that point. I think you get creative if you lose a DN. I think you got a guy like Brandon Fisk is capable of doing a multitude of things. Yeah. I think you can change your fronts up, have a little bit of fun. I think they would be capable of weathering that storm, but it wouldn't be in the organic, natural form of what they intend to be on the onset of playing a game or defense.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys touched on this. I disappeared for a second, but to me, Patrick Payton went from being a guy that was undersized to a guy that last year put on weight any kind of weight. It's mostly good weight, but this last year feels like he's been refining that weight and kind of adding strength through it. Do you feel like last year, I think the only complaint I really had with his game was the strength aspect of it, like standing up in the run game, being able to anchor against a down block, or having that power move that complements the speed he obviously has on the outside. Do you think that's something that's come along? Do you think he's going to be more of a complete player this year?
I do. My quick answer on that would be, in a practice setting, I feel like the guys that inflict their will the most are Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Darrell Jackson, and the next guy out of my mouth would be Pat Payton.
Okay.
That's
good to hear.
Hell of a group. Brendan, pick time.
Kev, can you go ahead and put Lawrence Toa-Philly or Lawrence Toa-Willie? That was supposed to be funny, but I kind of butchered it at my flex.
Oh, not a delivery guy. You gotta work on that timing, kid. Where are you putting him at? Running back or flex?
Flex, please.
Flex a wheelie. All right, LT.
Like his versatility. I really like the way he's run this preseason. I feel like he's ascending. He's developing, becoming more complete. But like him at the flex position makes a ton of sense because of like playing the slot. You can move him all over the place. It just, I like him as a flex guy because that's what he is in real life.
I like it. A lot of options with your roster, Brendan. You got one more option this round.
I will go with. I guess it doesn't really matter because we're just picking against ourselves. I'll go Julian Armella. Julian Armella, I'll put him at left tackle. I think it's someone who has potential to become a rotational piece this season at either tackle spot, even guard. He's got some upside at multiple spots. So I'll go Julian Armella.
What spot? He's got left
tackle. I'll put him at left tackle for now.
Left. Julian left. Chris, you think he's ready for some game reps if the situation calls for it?
Yeah, they talk about having 8 that they feel really good about, and then like a couple more that they could throw in the fire if needed be. I think he falls in that category of a couple more, along with Texas offensive lineman who came in last year, whose body has changed.
Jalen Early.
Thank you.
Boom. Chris, time for defense, bud. You left the best for last. What are you going to do?
I'll go with KP as a safety, Kevin Knowles as a safety, and Akeem Dent as my other safety.
All right, safety's off the board. When did he start going by KP, by the way? I feel like I'm pretty wired in.
It's always been a nickname. I believe Adam Fuller called him KP as a freshman, and I had a moment of, did Adam just have a senior moment where he talked about on defense?
I think Kevin's middle name is Prince. I'm pretty
Phineas,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Percy.
No, I think it's Prince.
Percival.
So
I could be wrong. It's on his Instagram.
Kevin Percival Knowles the fourth.
So
It's a
where do you
Bridgerton
want them
character.
to be pushed?
Hey,
So
you
Dent
do
is
you,
a
Kev. You do
strong
you, buddy.
safety.
Like, I'm cool with him being at either spot. Yeah, Dent to me is more of a strong. Well, Free is more KP. With
right.
Knowles, they moved him to that spot. They're super comfortable with him. Kevin's kind of that dude who's like the old at this. God, it's kind of crazy to talk about Kevin this way, but he's like an old salty veteran. Like, he knows exactly what they're supposed to do.
Of course, he's on your team, then, dude. I love we're
and
emphasizing
he
veteran
just-
presence.
He has an unbelievable understanding of the defense, and they're very confident in who and what he can be and what he's capable of being. He's done a good job. Last year, he dealt with a lot of injuries. The hope is that he's a healthier individual this season. I think they feel good about him being, they like having 3 safeties. That's sort of the like benchmark of like, we're going to play. We have 2 starters, but we're going to roll a third guy out there for a lot of snaps. And then we're going to have a little bit of rotation after that. Those 2 guys, Dent and Knowles, are the 3 along with Brown, if everything is, as perfect as it can be.
So
All right.
originally in the spring, they rolled out, Duke Cooper.
Yeah.
They moved him from corner to safety.
Yeah.
Obviously, Knowles wasn't practicing in the spring. Do you think if he was healthy, they would have made that decision originally?
I don't know, Brendan. What do you think? Because you were the one who kind of had to scoop early on that they were gonna go with him at safety, and then Pat and Adam both spoke about it preseason, and then obviously in the preseason.
So Kevin is really well regarded for his football acumen. I think that's a big reason why what Chris just alluded to and why he took him is because he is so smart and that salty veteran, even though it's only year 3 for him. He was primarily a nickel corner his first 2 years on campus. But you guys might remember, like, there were times late last season when the safety depth got eaten into a little bit, where he actually played some safety. I think it was against Florida. So someone that had that skill set, I don't think it would have been like far-fetched for him to get some cross-training there this preseason or the spring if he were full go then. So they like him. And also, like, being at safety, you can kind of see the entire field. You can kind of put guys in the right place. You see him do that this preseason where he's super, like, animated and just like engaged in terms of like directing traffic. And so I think safety makes a lot of sense for him. And what we've seen, like Jamie Robinson too, like you're going to play a guy who can play slot, similar skill set to playing that field safety position in Adam Fuller's scheme. So
All
yeah,
right.
I think that's the question. I think so. Yes.
No consideration of taking a Conrad Hussey or a KJ
Oh,
Kirkland?
I considered Conrad Hussey wholeheartedly. I like Conrad Hussey a ton. I think he's a guy that's going to push for PT. Athletically, he's got it. He can do it. KJ Kirkland's another guy I like a lot, but I love me some Hussey. Hussey is a guy that if he was here in the spring,
so does Logan Paul.
Oh, shit.
Boom.
If
Twitter
Hussey had been
reference.
here for the spring, yes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, fantastic. Man, I'm glad I got to
Hussey is a
reference that.
guy who goes and gets a football. He had a pick in Jacksonville that had me like, I had a moment where I was like, holy shit.
We almost had another.
Like that's what it's supposed to look like. That's a dude who reads it from the middle of the field, shows he can move fast as hell, closes, catches it, tries the toe tap. I mean, I'm excited about Conrad Hussey wholeheartedly.
Never stop recruiting St. Thomas Aquinas. Let's do the toe tap and finish this thing up. We got a couple rounds left. Brendan, give me 2 picks.
Jalen Early at left guard, Keandre Jones at right guard. I think that's we have the top 10 players, I think, in our estimation, right, Chris, out of 2 offensive lines. Chris has more guys who I think are more experienced and probably more likely to play the start of the season. But I think, mine's kind of leaning towards upside. So
where you want to put Early?
Left guard for Early, Keandre at right. I don't think it matters a ton, though.
Keandre, decent shape. I mean, you don't have to get into it too much, but as he came in maybe a little bit not optimal as far as like body composition. How's he looking now?
I think he's still kind of working his way through a little bit. They love his power and his strength. He's someone that they have, like Dimitri, Emmanuel, and Casey Erotic are older and more experienced. That's crazy as it sounds, given that Keandre Jones is a redshirt junior. They're okay going to let Keandre kind of like work into things at his own time. I think he's part of that, like, my guess is like that rotation of 8 that Chris has alluded to several times. Like I think someone you could put him in like in the goal line or something and let him just be a power run blocker. So he'll help me out in that regard.
People are loving the hussy comment. All right, Chris. 2 picks.
We'll go Omar Graham and Keltner.
Keltner. I feel like we talked about both of those guys pretty.
Yeah, I agree with Sonone on his estimation that Ryan probably ends up winning that job. I think it was a very close contest. So this past week, I think Ryan distanced himself just slightly. But Keltner has been good for Ryan. And Omar is a guy that they've talked about the investment they made into him of being that next guy. They've very much discussed the linebacker tiers and how they are. That they had that 1, 2, and then 3 with Lundy, and Graham was the next guy up.
All right. Totally agree. Brendan, go.
Chris, I don't know whether to take Rodney Hill or Keziah Holmes at running back. I really don't.
Well, don't ask your competition.
I got Brendan here. I'm going to share his thought process. If this draft had been done at the start of preseason, he would not flinch to take Rodney Hill.
Right.
But Keziah Holmes has made us think twice. Keziah Holmes has a certain element of power. He sticks a foot in the ground and changes direction. And my God, does he love delivering a beautiful, sweet, stiff arm to your face. And it is fun as hell to watch. Rodney's really talented. Rodney's kind of like LT, where he's a bit of a diverse player, but I think he's a little bit even more of a running back.
Here we go. Is versatility important to you, Brendan? You going for power or malleability?
Oddly, if it was me, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, I would take Keziah Holmes.
I think based on the way my team is comprised, I have so much athleticism and versatility. I just want someone I can trust in the goal line to go ahead and just power it ahead at 215 pounds. I'll go Keziah Holmes. That breaks my heart, though. I love Rodney Hill. Chris, we're leaving Rodney Hill and Marcus and Douglas off the top.
You should have taken him over Lawrence Toafili.
I want versatility.
I don't want to come off like I hate Lawrence Toafili because I don't. 1, outstanding young man. 2, good football player. But I agree. If I could distribute snaps, he is, and that's the thing. If you're looking how the coaches view it, LT is going to play more than those guys. But if I was distributing snaps, it would be tough for me to give Toafili more than Hill in a similar idea of a skill set.
All right, Brendan, make your next pick and then just pencil you in for Jordan Travis. Let Chris finish this off.
Well, I think as the president of the Jordan Travis fan club, as one of the few people waving the sword around with Jon Snow and the Battle of the Bastards for Jordan Travis, I think I deserve to have a little bit of shine, right?
You're going to take it anyway if we don't give it to you. So just go ahead and say what you want to say. Did you come up with his nickname, Brendan? I haven't heard that one yet.
I did, actually. I did. Kev,
have your moment.
Kev, would you like to take Jordan Travis for me and explain why you were also on the bandwagon pretty early as him being a well above average Power 5 quarterback?
Yeah, before last year, I was saying he was a top 5 quarterback. I video evidence of me saying that. So check the receipts. But
prove it.
Jordan Travis, first of all, he's a special athlete, and that plays. So there are guys that can't throw well and can't run as well as Jordan Travis that are very successful college quarterbacks. So I was banking on him being a above average college quarterback just because of how special he was athletically. I thought you could build a team around that. And that being in the ACC, we've seen very effective offenses run by, Georgia Tech guys, by someone like Nick Marshall, who Jordan Travis was a better throwing quarterback than Nick Marshall was at Auburn when they went to the national championship when he showed up on campus, in my opinion. And that guy was able to lead Auburn to a national championship.
Ooh,
and so
I
saw Jordan Travis as a special athlete. I thought he was someone that you could work on being a better thrower. But I also thought, well, if Mike Norvell is as good of an offensive mind as people say he is, you'll be able to use that athleticism to make a good offense, regardless of how well he's able to throw a 50-yard bomb.
So I'm going to contribute this to Brendan's pick, which may ultimately, cause me to lose the vote. Jordan was Jordan. He got in there and operated, making decisions, took care of the ball. It's good to see him go out there and operate at a high level. Sometimes you get accustomed to seeing it and you kind of take it for granted. He's a special player. That's his offensive coordinator talking about him in scrimmage number 2. It's a phenomenal summary. Jordan Travis doesn't turn it over. He hits big plays. He drops balls in buckets. He checks down when he should. He makes an offense operate and hum, and it's unbelievable to watch, and we take it for granted. every time I talk to anybody that's been around football a long time that's out there, I've never seen somebody evolve like Jordan Travis ever. I've enjoyed it. I was wrong. Shit. I was massively wrong early in his career, thinking like he's not going to turn into what he's become. It's mind-blowing to me. It's awesome. He's a good kid. He's a great football player. Yeah. Dude can cook. Like FSU is capable of being one of the 2 or 3 best offenses in the country this year. I've said it time and time again. I wholeheartedly believe it. The O-line is good enough. The skill is unbelievable. They can run the ball, and they're going to be able to throw at a high, high level. And Jordan Travis is the engine in the car, and it can go fast.
Got a chance to be on the Mount Rushmore FSU quarterbacks, man. Pretty nuts. Pretty nuts seeing as he was losing battles against the wind, like when he came here immediately. So it's awesome, and well said. Well said. Brendan, anything else you want to add before you get your last pick?
Jordan Travis was not on either team Chris or I picked in 2020 when we first did this. Like, that's how far he's come. We weren't sure. We had Mackenzie Milton and I think Chubba. No, sorry, that would have been James Blackman and Chubba Purdy. I think were our quarterbacks then. Like,
Chubbs.
I could have told you that was a bad decision.
Chubbs.
I drank a lot back then.
Yeah, Jordan. There's gone like Jordan didn't practice that entire preseason camp, and we only saw him a few practices in the spring and didn't practice a ton then. But the growth has been remarkable. Chris said it perfectly. I can't say it better. It's been amazing.
Oof, stole your thunder. Last pick. Who are you pairing with Braden Fisk?
So I need a defensive tackle. I really like Daniel Lyons, like as an upside play here. I feel like Dennis Briggs has a little bit.
Not a keeper draft, baby. You shouldn't be drafting Daniel Lyons, okay?
Also, I think my team is freaking stacked. Oh, it's so good.
He's taking Daryl Jackson.
One thing I don't know if I have on this defense, which is malleable, which is filled with like high caliber, twitchy athletes, is a badass who can just stop the run.
Get one.
I'm going to take Daryl Jackson.
Why, dude? What is your confidence that he's going to play this year as you exit the screen throwing that Molotov?
What?
How confident are you that he's going to play? I know you did just walk. It's great radio. YouTube reaction stream. Anyway, how confident are you that he's going to play, dude?
To be totally serious, not particularly confident. I
picked you.
My team is so much better than Chris's guys. It doesn't matter. I will take.
Hey, baby, line it up. Let's go play. Let's go.
Kev, put it in the PlayStation right now.
Kev, can you make your video game
11
Run
heavy
on
offense, Kevin? Pick the offensive.
It is going to suck when I only have 10 players on defense. But
I'll give you final answer.
What
final answer? Is that your Daryl Jackson?
Yeah, I'll roll the dice there. I don't think it's going to happen. They haven't given up on it totally. I'll take the upside pick here. If I lose with the PFF grades, you can play a Merritt Gainer 20 snaps and win apparently. So whatever. Like I'll take
it's a math equation.
All right, let's end this math equation.
Wait,
Chris. Of course.
I had a quick question.
Go ahead, Kev.
So I think we know what we have, and Fabian Lovett. Me and AB watched Braden Fisk's film. He's a high motor player. Really
boy, that's cliche for a guy.
Is he a scrappy gym rat, Kev? Rookie son?
No, I know that's a cliche, but the dude literally. Okay, never mind.
No, Kev, I did have a conversation with someone today in the program who I was like, I hate to say he's a high motor guy. They're like, he is, but he's also a freaky athlete. Like,
yeah.
Okay. But. So I want to kind of
first one to show up, last to leave.
I want to talk about. I think Verse actually said that about him.
Yeah, takes his lunch pail to work every day, puts his hard hat on. Yep.
He's the only one out working me. But
walked uphill to school both ways.
Oh my God! I once had. Who
Kevin, go ahead.
Okay,
so it was Jarquez Green got on me for how I described Josh Griffiths, and it was in Josh Griffiths' own words. Like, what do you want me to do? The kid described himself as like.
So to me, Daniel Lyons and Tafase are both really long guys, right? Really long defensive tackles, and I think that plays. That's why I'm so high on Daryl Jackson. Is he's able to use that length to win those hand battles inside and get pushed guards into the backfield. What are you missing out of Lyons? What are you missing out of those two guys? That's keeping them from from playing, from kind of being drafted here?
Lions is just a matter of like experience and more time in the strength program. And he's going to like he was their number 1 graded PFF player last year, and he actually played like against good competition. Wake Forest, Oklahoma, like they played him in games. I might regret not playing Daniel Lyons or picking him here. I'm probably going to regret all of it because I'm probably playing a guy.
You picked a guy who's denied to actually play this year as your starting defensive tackle. There may be some regrets afterwards.
Is availability important to you?
But Daniel Lyons, like I think what's so cool about his upside, Kev, is like I viewed him as like this kind of fairly twitchy, like 6'4", long arm guy who like has some like good movement skills as a potential like pass rush specialist, but he's strong. Like he's someone that can actually like hold up well in the trenches against the run. Like with more time to keep adding to his body, but like by next season, he might be one of the better defensive tackles like in the conference. Like, I don't think that's far fetched for him to be a guy who you put in the starting lineup and say, yeah. And then with Ayo was the other guy, Ayo Tafasi.
Yeah.
He is so strong and so like aggressive out of the snap. It's like we were like leaving a practice in Jacksonville, and one of the players was like, he just keeps getting his head start and I can't stop him because he's so fast and physical. It's just a matter of like playing the game more. And Chris says it like I think better than I do. Like he basically is like a north-south guy, and he needs to be a little bit better east-west, like in terms of like just not being so aggressive where he gets upfield and takes himself out of a play. So one's more time in strength program. The other one I think is just more like reps.
With Daniel Lyons, I feel like you're trying to allow natural progression, and when it actually happens, it's going to be outstanding. With Ayo Tafasi, he's a human wrecking ball, but there's the concerns of, well, he got downhill so fast that they ran behind his backside and just hit a big one through that gap. Like, it's a matter of understanding that sometimes at that position, it's about, you don't always have to be playing 1,000,000 miles per hour. Sometimes it's about making the smart decision. Like Braden Fisk, for example, earlier this preseason had a practice where he wreaked havoc on a play, and the next play he kind of was not allowed, but gained the advantage in a similar manner, but the play didn't go the same way, and he kind of staggered and played and stretched. And it was a guy who understood how to play the game at a high level because he's played a lot of college reps.
Yeah.
And he's got that. Fisk had that. I always got to get there.
Can I go Dennis Briggs?
But if you want to tell a guy,
no, dude, I'm making you lock into this Jackson pick. I gave you a chance. I let you lock in your final answer. Regis Philbin says no, it's done. I gave you so much time to go back on it. You're locked in. Commissioner's order. Chris, go ahead. Final two.
Okay. So I want Brendan to help me because I gave him so much help with this draft. At nickel, are you going Edwin Joseph or Ashlyn Barker?
Oh, I like Edwin Joseph a lot. So I think
I like them both.
I would also suggest you, Chris, an option is to move Kevin Knowles into nickel. They've talked about him still playing that this year.
And then playing Barker at safety.
Or Conrad Hussey, whoever you want at safety of the true freshman.
Oh, Hussey lover.
I like where your head is. We're going to go with Knowles back to nickel. He's comfortable there. He's done in the past. And we're going to go with Conrad Hussey because I professed my love for him like 10 minutes ago. So
Chris loves
we're just going to go with that. And then to wrap it up, I'm going to do this for Kev.
Yes.
Quindarius Jones.
There it is. Kev, I tried to get you to give him to him earlier.
Pull it up, Kev.
I knew he'd come up. I'm too busy.
He's a long, lanky, athletic dude who's just a pesky gnat at cornerback. I don't know how much he's going to play this year because we have the other guys that we've talked about at cornerback and nickel. But yeah, I enjoy watching Quindarius compete. Offensive guys that love going after the ball, Quindarius Jones is that as a defensive player.
Buy or sell, Chris. Quindarius Jones plays on Sundays.
Yeah, I think so.
Kevin was first.
He's a dude, ultra competitive.
All right.
Quindarius Jones is like if you put Greedy Vance in a 6'2" body.
Yeah, that's a good description, actually. Damn, Kev, you nailed that.
Good job, buddy. Well, can't get any better than that. All right, the draft is over. We're putting this on audio, so do I have to read the list of everybody's full team names? I will do it if it's required of me as my job as host.
Just tell them to go check out Noles247.
We'll have
it will be there. Drink some Chattanooga whiskey. Go buy a house with the Turner Group. Go buy the video game that I don't actually know the name of offhand. I apologize.
Football Coach College Dynasty on Steam.
Thank you, because I've not had the opportunity to play it. You do those things. Go check out the team. read the transcript from today when the coaches talked about a second scrimmage that they were very pleased with while capping 15 spring practices. Or I'm sorry. Damn, I called it spring.
Oh,
it
you got so far.
It happened.
I'm with Chris. You're not getting any more of my voice tonight. Go to Noles247, subscribe, read this list, put it all behind a paywall, Brendan. That's what I say. Put it behind a paywall. Thank you guys for joining us live. This is fun. I mean, it's such a mess. I enjoy being a part of the zoo. That was fun. Great draft. And I tell you what, we had to make some tough decisions. Both these two teams look a lot better than last year. The roster's improved. Florida State's out for blood. Chris is out for hussies. Brendan's out for malleability. And Adam's out for chickens. I love you guys. We'll see you later. Drink your whiskey, buy your homes, and play your video games. Keep chopping. We'll see the Quindarius Prizeman picture. What a live stream. What an audience. We love you.